Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. I'm your host, Leon Jones, and this evening's topic. Proper dialogue is one reason why relationships fail. Proper dialogue is one reason why relationships fail. Now, when I talk about dialogue, I'm simply saying communication. Many of us, when we come to a prospective relationship, we want to impress that person so badly we tend to use deception. And the deception is we want to tell the other person what they want to hear so they would like us. First mistake, you do not try to convince anybody to like you based on your words. Because communication is not just verbal, it is also nonverbal. And the nonverbal is the action that you're going to show. But when it comes to being realistic with dialogue, a lot of us don't have it, particularly as black people. And this is why you get a number of games that are played. And it is not good to play with people's feelings and hearts, because individuals who are serious about a relationship put in a lot of money, energy, emotions, and time. That's that acronym that I came up with a long time ago. And when you are playing with a person's heart, it can be very dangerous. Individuals will get irrational very quickly. Now, when I talk about proper dialogue, I'm not talking about the fuzzy subjects. I'm talking about real subjects. You should talk about finances, feminism, the Bible, politics, and economics. Because if you are planning to get involved in a relationship, you want to make sure that your prospective partner is in a position to where they can have a relationship. You see, a number of us men and women, we tend to go for the outside. We don't look at the inside. We tend to want the sex. The sex is good, but the sex is only going to be temporary if that person is not in position to have a relationship. Case in point, this is going to offend some people, but I don't care. A single mom. Well, for the most part, a number of single moms, and I don't care what anyone says, is not in a position to have a relationship. So basically, that type of relationship is going to be a sexual relationship. Call it whatever you want, single moms, but it is true because you don't have that time when you have other responsibilities. And if you're doing it right, you take care of your responsibilities first before your responsibilities, because you had your opportunity, but you made a mistake by picking the wrong guy and it didn't last. So you can't expect somebody to come into your life and defer to you. It's not going to work. Now, that was an example. Now it's for the men. Okay, you've been in jail, brother. Well, you're just getting out of jail. You have a lot of catching up in your life to do. You can't expect a woman to come into your life no matter what you tell her, because you're not there yet. You're not in position. And she might not want to be your partner because you were in jail. Now, it depends on the type of crime. But that being said, when it comes to proper communication, you should be direct with the person. Now, you don't have to be belligerent with your directness, but you should be honest. Let that person know where you're coming from. When you ask somebody a direct question, you need a direct answer. But base your questioning and answering off of concrete facts. And the problem with a number of these modern day women today and modern day men, they just don't deal with the truth very well, because we live in a politically correct society to where being forward is offensive. But if you don't communicate right, it is going to show throughout the relationship. Because in America, many of us are living a lie anyway, because we've been deceived all of our lives, so we won't become offended. And that's a problem, because in reality, truth hurts. And it is very important to, when we sit down and have a conversation, that we talk about real topics. I don't want to hear about your kids at night. Being a good mother and being a good dad is good, but just because you're a good mother, a good father, doesn't mean you're going to be a good husband or a good wife. I want to hear about you. I want to know where you're coming from, why you chose me. And I want you to be direct about it. I want to know your political affiliation. I want to know if you can cook. I want to know what your education background is, what your family background is, were you raped or molested. These are very important to me, because that's going to give me an idea of whether you have mental issues or not. And I'm going to tell you the same. And I'm going to communicate with you unapologetically. And if it sounds offensive, because my style is very straightforward, let it be. You're not the one I want to be with. Because if you speak to somebody properly and respectfully, they don't have to agree with you, but they should acknowledge where you're coming from. And too many of us in relationships, we fall in love with the fantasy, but forget the reality. And one must understand that a relationship is not about Alice in Wonderland. And a relationship is more than just love. It's a business. You're trying to form a corporation, a partnership, so you can build together. That's why you have to ask legitimate questions and have legitimate conversations. There are a number of us who are in poor positions, but they still think they can have a relationship. That's insane. Now, I was listening to one of my brother's videos, and shout out to Big Body Matt Coley. Check his channel out. He was talking about this modern woman. Now, this video is not about this modern woman, but the reason why we have a number of women and a number of men who are in peril today, it comes from the background they come from. And a number of women have bought into feminism, socialism. A number of them are very immature. They're very narcissistic. And this is not just the millennial women. This is women in the Gen X generation and the baby boomer generation. Because they've been sold a bill of goods by all this women's empowerment, which is total nonsense. It's BS. And to me, men, they've become even more simplified. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a surprise. And it's not all men who were raised around single mothers. You have men who had weak dads. A lot of these men don't have critical thinking skills. They have the inability to lead. They have the inability to commit. Therefore, they don't make good husbands. And then the narrative about marriage. Many guys don't want to get married because of the laws. Because the laws do benefit a number of women. But let me get back on topic of communication, because this is not man versus women. This is a video that talks about proper communication. Now, proper communication is essential, because you want to know where each other is coming from. Because if you're building something, you want to make sure that you're compatible. And many of us, just like Brother Matt Coley said in his video, Or we can have sex even if we don't like each other, but how long is that going to last? And too many guys, you're focused on sex. If you're focused on building a relationship, guys, you can't be simple. You got to be honest with yourself. And ladies, you got to be realistic about who you are as well. Are you in a position? And you can't be simping. And you have to honor the order of the Most High: God, man, woman, and child. Because just because you go to church, ladies, it doesn't mean that you're a good woman. And fellas, just because you make a lot of money, it doesn't make you a good man. If both of you have the inability to communicate, the relationship will not last. I don't care how good both of you look, because at the end of the day, it's about what's inside. It's your character and your integrity. And if you don't believe me, you look around you and you ask people, some of these divorce lawyers, why we have a 50% divorce rate in this country. But when it comes to communication, here's what usually happens. And here's 6 items that I came up with. Number 1, there's always a lack of respect. When you speak to each other, you be who you are. Now, I prefer being tactful. I can come off myself as a drill sergeant because my voice is very deep. But I like to be tactful because it's the proper way. I don't like to offend anybody, but I'm going to be direct. I'm going to respect your opinion. May not agree with it. But if you give me an opinion based on facts, I'm going to listen to you all day. And I'm going to have your undivided attention. But if you are giving me nonsense, I'm not going to listen. See, respect is earned, but you have to be civil. And I should have said lack of civility, because that's also part. But you have to understand each other. And you have to look at the fact that sometimes you're not always a match, regardless of what you want. Because if your communication is going in 2 different directions, there's going to be a lot of conflict. And once you break it all down, your relationship is not going to work because there's a lot of non-compatibility issues. I like the 80-20 rule. Give me 80%, we'll work on the 20%. Now that 20% is also going to be based on the severity of the interest of the compatibility. Because if you're way out in left field with that 20%, we're not going to work either. But that's my stance on respect and civility. Number 2 is honesty. Again, when we communicate, we should be direct. We should let the other person know what we're looking for. Even if it's not what they're looking for, let them know. And when you ask a question directly, get a direct answer. Now, if you don't know the answer, you say, I don't have an answer right now, but I will get an answer. And make sure you get an answer in the right amount of time. You don't have people waiting. Because when it comes to a topic, you got to be honest. Let's take care of this topic right now, because if another topic comes up, I don't want to hear a topic that we should have solved in the past. You always want to be honest when it comes to critical thinking and problem solving. And don't tell a person what they want to hear. That's where the game plan starts. Because time is going to tell if you're telling the truth. Number 3. This is a big one. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. When it comes to communication, and this is more with women, and I believe some men have the problem, It's listening to your family and friends. I say you're surrounded by morally deficient friends and family. Well, you have a number of family members who don't have a man or a woman. Those are individuals that you do not want to get your information from because they're already bitter. And they're going to be jealous if you have a guy or a woman. And they're going to have a lot of problems. And what they want you to do is get yourself involved with their problems. This is where that incubus and that succubus come into play. When I tell you about the demons inside people, well, it's always the people that are supposed to be close to you that can tear you down. I've had strangers treat me better than some people I know because we can have a dialogue. And some of your friends and family, you may not be able to have a dialogue because they're stuck in their emotions. And a number of them have mental issues themselves. And if you try to tell them something, their mind operates in an irrational function. They will get easily offended, and they may end up slamming the door in your face, giving you that blatant disrespect, especially if you try to reason with them. You can't reason with irrational people. And that's why I say you have a number of friends and family who are morally deficient, and they're going to give you that bad advice about who you're dating. They're always going to have an opinion, whether it's true or not. And that's going to cause a lot of conflict. And eventually, if you are in a relationship, that relationship is going to fail because they don't have a relationship. That's that jealousy. That's that competitiveness. And a lot of this happens as well, especially if a single mother or a single dad is trying to date again, because there's going to be a lot of contention with the kids involved. You don't want to get in that situation. It's detrimental because you're always going to be sitting on the outside. And this is true. Can't be refuted. Because I've experienced it myself, and there are other people who have gone through the same experiences. But at the end of the day, all this would not take place if you communicate properly. And that starts by disciplining yourself and not looking at looks. You must look at everything. Because if you're looking for a serious relationship, you need to put your cards on the table and be truthful about it. Also, immaturity. You have a number of people who are narcissistic. They live in fantasy land. They look at too much television. And they live, or they want to live like those actors on television. They haven't grown up. There's also a number of schizophrenic issues like delusion. They can't deal with the truth. They can't deal with constructive criticism. And I'm not talking about black men and black women. I'm talking about men and women as a whole. This is why you have a lot of the contention in relationships. You have a number of individuals who are very combative. They don't want to listen. They lack any type of social and critical thinking skills. A number of them hide behind social media and all of the other childish nonsense that they play. The shaming tactics, that's the sign of immaturity. You do not want to get involved with a person like that, because that is going to set you way back, and you're going to have nothing but conflict, because you're not going to be able to communicate anything of concrete facts to these individuals, because they're not interested in concrete facts. They're only interested in their emotions. And I've always said this: emotions cloud critical thinking. Let me say that again. Emotions cloud critical thinking. Also, mental issues and psychological issues. Well, you have a number of men and women today who are stressing out. They take a lot of medication. Also, health issues. Let's add that to the mix. See, when you don't take care of yourself when you're younger, you'll see the effects when you get older. You have a number of individuals that you are trying to get involved with who have had bad relationships. Maybe some people don't know how to have bad relationships. Maybe their family pathology. You had mothers and dads who didn't teach their children how to have relationships. Maybe some of these individuals who are older today, they had parents who didn't care about them, because a number of these children that are here today were from irresponsible parents. These parents didn't want to be parents. They were just having sex without protection, and they wanted to have fun. The problem is, when you're having unprotected sex besides STDs, you're going to have unwanted pregnancies. You're going to have a responsibility that you didn't want. Or you have a number of individuals out here who don't know how to be parents. They don't care to be parents. Some of them want to have a child so they can get on a welfare system. But when it comes to mental illnesses, you have individuals up here who are narcissistic, they're sociopathic, they have a history of hysteria, Stockholm syndrome, delusion. There are others to be named, but you don't want anybody who's got mental issues like bipolarism. You don't want individuals who hop from one relationship to another. These are issues that you should be communicating to people, because you're going to know from the answers you get and the actions you see if that person is right for you. But at the end of the day, you as an individual should know what you are looking for in a relationship. You shouldn't be playing games. This is why I take the direct approach when I talk to somebody, because I want to eliminate 95% of the BS. And that goes to my next portion of this topic: unrealistic expectations. And women are definitely guilty of this. Listen, ladies, and I'll share this with the men as well. When you are looking for a relationship, do not expect something that you're not willing to give. You have to be just as reciprocal as the man. It's not a man's job to pay your way all the time. You work with each other. You work as a team. And you understand that you have different roles. You got a number of women who want to come in thinking that they're the man. No, you're not the man. The man's the man, the woman's the woman. See, a man's job is to design, build, and maintain. A woman's job is to nurture, administer, and teach. Both roles are significant, but they're different. But they create balance. If you stay in your lane and understand your role, you don't have to have unrealistic expectations. But you have a number of individuals who haven't grown up. They still live in Alice in Wonderland. And that's why they go from relationship to relationship to relationship, because they're basically unstable. And that is very dangerous. So at the end of the day, when it comes to any type of relationship, even if it's a friendship, you got to get to know that person, but have the right dialogue. Don't talk about anything irrelevant. That'll turn the other person off. Don't be afraid to talk about you, because you will give me a better idea of who you are. But be truthful. Don't tell me what I don't want to hear. Tell me what I need to know, because that's what I'm going to do. Because at the end of the day, a relationship is about two people. Two people who want to build. But you can't have a relationship without realistic dialogue. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show for this afternoon, Thursday, September 13th, 2018. You could tune into the 401 Talk Zone Radio Show every Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. You haven't heard any Blog Talk Radio shows lately because I've decided to take some time off because I am in school. I'm in Ivy Tech taking up HVAC courses. But when I produce another show, you will know about it because you can check everything out on Facebook. All of my links to my Facebook page, my Twitter page, and my YouTube page and Blog Talk Radio page are all under the video. Just click them on and you will find me. Again, if you want to get on the show, Blog Talk Radio, the guest calling number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 411 Talk Zone Radio Show on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on the 401 Talk Zone Radio Show, I do not engage in controversial issues, emotional issues, or debates because they're counterproductive. My channel is a self-awareness therapeutic channel. What I'm here to do is educate. This is why I don't engage in drama and or unnecessary bickering. I'm here to give you the knowledge about how the real world works. And if you're looking for a relationship, this video will give you the tools so you can utilize them to help yourself, because relationships these days are very difficult, especially in this Western culture under gynocracy and feminism. But if you have the tools, you have the knowledge, and once you have the knowledge, you have the power. And if you have a topic, a new YouTube channel, or business that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, simply email me at lej6521@gmail.com. Again, that's lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other and have a wonderful and blessed day. God bless you all.